All right, hello everyone. Welcome back. It's that time of the week again. It's time for some more LSR. Today, it's Group 1 after yesterday's Group 2. Once again, we arrive at Portugal for the penultimate round of the championship. It's round 8 of 9, and next in 2 weeks' time, it will be the season finale for both groups at the Sao Paulo circuit. And that's definitely going to be an exciting one. But let's focus on this one for now, as I'm sure it's going to be quite an exciting race if Group 2 was anything to go off yesterday. It looks like Vacant Haddock, who also raced in Group 2 yesterday, is the first man out on track. He is out on those medium compound tyres for this short qualifying session. And he is going to be the first man to set a lap time, so long as he doesn't make any mistakes on his outlap or on his flying lap. So let's see if he can put a decent time in on those mediums, and that would definitely help him out, as if you can get a really good time on mediums, as we saw with Elian Bayan, who got a great time in on mediums. I think he qualified P5, and that obviously really helped him out in the race, finished P2 if I'm not mistaken. So that's why qualifying on the mediums can be quite a powerful thing. But it looks like Vacant has actually let the Alfa Romeo of Ecos Forzan through, and it looks like he is actually going to be the first man to set a lap, still on medium compound tyres. So let's see how he does, as we are now on the run to the line, and he crossed the line to begin his first lap of the session. Coming into turn 1 now, let's see how he takes this. Looks like he just misses that apex, actually goes wide, lucky not to invalidate his lap time, but he's still going here. Coming into turn 3, a little bit of a lockup, going into second gear there, not getting any wheel spin through turn 4, and taking that quite nicely for himself. Now into turn 5, it looks like Vacant, who has the slipstream of Forzan ahead of him, has just set the fastest first sector out of the two of them. But Ecos now coming into the double right-hander of turn 7 and the uphill right-hander of turn 8. And see, they're very easy to get a lot of wheel spin coming out of that turn. But was thankfully able to control it. They're lying here into turn 10 for Ecos Forzan, as I think the faster line is a bit of a wider line that just swoops in and gets a nice exit. But we're now coming in to the final two turns. Turn 13, a very long right-hander where you're just waiting to get on the power, and then we have the flat out turn 15, 7th gear, 280 kilometers per hour. It looks like Forzan was not happy with that lap, so he's decided to actually come into pit lane, and it looks like Vacant is the exact same. He wasn't happy with that lap. I think he actually invalidated it, so he is going to come into the pit lane, and neither of the two drivers are going to be setting a lap time on those mediums. Zayek, however, in the Red Bull is the first man to set a lap time, and on soft compound tyres he sets a 17.4. The Ico though is able to beat that time with a 16.9, and for reference, the Drivers' Championship has already been won by LFR Bthom. He won it very, very early, absolutely dominated the season. If I'm not mistaken, I think he has won every single round. So that was a fully deserved championship. But constructors-wise, we have AlphaTauri leading the way with 113 points, and Aston Martin right behind them with 99, with only 2 rounds to go. It is quite close, but AlphaTauri have both of their full-time drivers, the Bickle and 8,000 RPM, whereas Aston Martin, neither of their full-time drivers were able to make it, and I'm not sure who they are, but I think one of them is Bthom, if I'm not mistaken. I definitely could be. So it's just Vacant who will be reserving for Aston Martin today, so it looks like AlphaTauri could get this in the bag if they play their cards right, but we'll have to see how that plays out. The AlphaTauri driver of Bickle is currently on provisional pole position, so decent lap time from him to do a 16.9. Secret was on a lap time. He has invalidated in the first sector, so he's going to have to abandon this time on soft compound tyres, and he's not going to be able to set a lap time just yet. Looks like Kruner has gone for a second lap in a row on these medium compound tyres. Obviously must have made a mistake on his first lap, but it looks like this is a bit of a cool down lap for him, so he's not currently on a lap, and I don't think his teammate is either, although he definitely could be. Let's see how hard he pushes into this turn 11. Looks like a pretty decent turn 11 there. We now come into turn 12. Or no, sorry, that was turn 12 that he just took. This is turn 13 and the final turn of turn 14. And let's see if he dives into the pit lane, or is he actually going to set this lap time. It looks like he is going to complete the laps. This is on medium compound tyres. Let's see where this puts him. Puts him P4 with a 17.7. Decent time on the medium compound tyres. But Sobitz on the mediums was able to set a 17.3. That's quite a fast time for a medium runner, and who stick with that lap, and if he does, he could be looking possibly even a top 5 qualifying position. Looks like Ecos Forzan was on a lap but hasn't validated, and it looks like he must have made a mistake on his medium lap because he didn't commit to it, and he's now invalidated his soft compound tyre lap. It looks like a vacant though, currently on a soft compound tyre lap, coming up the hill. Sorry, this is turn 11, getting my turns mixed up here. This is turn 11, now up the hill into turn 12, and then comes to a third or second gear. It looks like vacant's taken into the turn 13. We now come into turn 14. You really need to hit that apex if you want to take this well, but you can see there he got on the power a bit too early, and that's going to cost him a little bit of time. So he now comes into the final turn of turn 15, and across the line, what kind of time is it going to be on soft compound tires? It's a 17.7, and that is going to put him in P5 in this session. So definitely not the worst lap from Vacant, who is a Group 2 driver. So doing pretty well for himself in the highest level of competition here in LSR, obviously Group 1. It looks like Ecos Forzan has gone for another lap time. Although I think that first one was an out lap, I just don't think the game actually counted it. But we now come into turn 5, just missing that apex, a little bit of a lockup. He has got a purple first sector, so that's a decent first sector from him. We now come into turn 7 and the uphill right-hander of turn 8. How is he going to get on the power? It looks like not that nicely, because he's got on the power too early. He's had to make a correction, and that's caused him to invalidate his lap time. So he's going to have to abandon yet another lap time, and that is really not going to help him in the grand scheme of things. So 9.5 minutes left in the session, and he still hasn't set a lap time, along with his teammate Sequit, who's currently on his his out lap, coming through turn 3 now. It looks like Ico Bickle, the current provisional poleman, currently coming through turn 10 and 11. And let's see if he's improving coming out of the middle sector. He's 3.5 tenths up on his time, so aiming for a 16.6 here, but let's see if he can gain any more in the final sector. And it looks like he went all the way down to second gear for turn 13, so being very aggressive with the gearing here. And we now come into the final turn of turn 15, a nice and tight line to the finish line, and it's going to be 16.4 for the Ico Bickle, and that puts him 7 tenths out in front of his teammate. So it's currently an AlphaTauri front row lockout at this stage of the qualifying session, and that's exactly what they want given the championship order. And I'm sure they're both going to be very happy with that. Looks like Sobitz, who's currently in P3, has just begun his lap time here. He's now coming into turn 3 and up the hill into turn 4, and looked like a bit slow through there, but he is almost 3 tenths up on his time, trying to dip in the 1 minute 16s, which would put him on the front row. We now come a lot of elevation changes around this Portuguese circuit, as once again we go up a hill, which brings us right back to a downhill section, which is then going to bring us up a hill once again for turn 10 and 11. And looks like a little bit of a wider line there from Soavitz to get himself the best exit possible. Currently 7 tenths up on his time here. He's on a bit of a flyer here on this lap. He's got 7.5 minutes left in the session, so plenty of track evolution still to come. So this is looking pretty good from him so far. Could he challenge for pole position up against the Ico Bickle? We'll have to see. Nice and tight line to the finish line, and what kind of time it's going to be? It's going to be a 16.4, and he is just 9/1000ths of a second behind the Ico Bickle. So it's very, very close between these two drivers, and it seems like everyone else is a mile away, but 8,000 RPM is just about to start his lap time. So let's see if he can improve. Can he get into the 16s, and can he get into the mix for pole position up against his teammate and Soabitz? We'll have to see. We're now on the run down into turn 1. Can he hit this apex? And it looks like yes he can, but he goes a little, almost went wide there, almost invalidated his time, manages to keep it on track Goes a bit wide there, misses the apex of turn 3. And we now come up the hill into turn 4. It's very nice through there, using the full width of the track. He's currently a 10th.5 up on his time now into turn 5, just about missing that apex. But once again, using the full width of the track to get himself the best exit possible. We now come into turn 7 and the uphill right-hander of turn 8. How does he take this? He uses 4th gear through there, not taking any chances with the wheel spin and making sure that he gets a nice traction out of there into turn 10 and now 11. A bit of a tighter line into here. That's not going to give him the best of exits. He's currently still a 10th.5 up on his time. He has it all to gain here in the final sector, and let's see if he can do exactly that now into turn 14. Just misses that apex slightly, but still gets a good exit out of there. But we're now into the final turn of turn 15. Is he going to take the tight line? It looks like he takes a bit of a wider line here to possibly carry a little more speed, and up to the line it's going to be a 16.9, so he gets himself into the 16s, but Ecos Forzan, who's right behind him in the Alfa Romeo, has just set a 16.3 and fairly close to the 15s at this point. So that was an absolutely rapid lap time from Ecos Forzan. He's stolen provisional pole away from the Ico Bickle, and we'll have to see how Ico Bickle is going to respond to this. And can he set a lap time fast enough to beat that 16.3? I'm sure he can, but right now he's in the pit lane, just waiting for the track to evolve a little more, for it to get a little hotter and a little grippier before he sets his final lap time of the session. Doesn't look like anyone else is currently on lap time. Xiaomi and Secret still have not set a lap time yet. I think both of them are really struggling with the track limits here, and that is fair enough. It's very difficult to get them right, especially at turns 4 and turn 5 right here. If you spin the wheels a bit too much, you might go slightly wide, as we saw with Ecos Forzan now coming up on turn 8. Got on the power a bit too early, had to make a correction, and that caused him to invalidate his lap time at turn 8. And turn 10, another one. If you cut in just too early, you could go over the curb a bit too much, but if you don't cut in early enough, as we see with Xiaomi here, you're not going to get the best of exits. So plenty of places to invalidate your lap time. Turn 1 is another big one, going wide at the exit of turn 1, and sometimes even turn 14 here on the exit there. So plenty of places where it's quite easy to invalidate your lap time around this circuit. So any driver that can get a fast and valid lap time in is going to be doing quite nicely for themselves. And one person who's doing quite nicely for himself is Ecos Forzan. He's just come back into the pit lane, and the one man who was trying to go for pole position and take AlphaTauri and make them Constructors champions is the Ico Bickle, currently on his outlap, running a 16.4 on soft compound tyres. He's going to be looking to improve on that. He wants this pole position, and let's see if he can get a win in the penultimate round of the season. I'm sure he'd be happy enough with that. Ecos Forzan, who I'm fairly sure is a reserve in this league, also showing everyone what he's made of. If I'm not mistaken, he's also one of the owners of this league, along with Sequid as well, and Formula Jonah. So a lot of the owners are fairly skilled on the Formula 1 game, and 3 of them are racing in Group 1 today. Ico Bickle starting his lap time now for AlphaTauri, and is now on the run down into turn 1. Let's see how fast can he go into turn 1 now. It looks like he hits that apex quite nicely, but I think he might have actually hit the sausage curb, and that has caused him to go wide at turn 1, and that has invalidated his lap time. So that is going to be the end of his lap. He's now going to have to go around for another lap before he can set his final lap time on the session. Vacant is currently on the medium compound tyres and ready to set another lap time. Formula Jonah also getting ready to set his final lap time of the session. Ecos Forzan, though, is now about to begin his lap, coming through turn 14 and getting ready to start his final lap time of the session. Let's see how fast he can go. Can he pull out an advantage while he has a chance up against Ico Bickle, who invalidated his last lap time and is now going for another outlap before he can get another flying lap in. So let's see, into turn 1 now. and any mistakes into here. It doesn't look like it, although he almost hit that sausage curb, getting as close to it as possible to carry as much speed as he possibly can. Now into turn 3 and 4, not really touching that curb too much, and getting a decent exit out there. And coming out of the first sector, he is up on his time, but only marginally. Into turn 5 now, hitting that apex much nicer than he did on his last lap, and gets a good exit out of there too. Now into turn 7 and 8, just misses that turn 7 apex, and into turn 8, that's going to compromise his line slightly. And as you can see, a little bit of wheel spin out of there, had to make a slight correction. But we now come into turn 10 and 11. Is Zayek going to get out of the way? He's giving Ecos Forzan a bit of dirty air, and it does not look like he's going to concede the position. So Ecos Forzan now coming up to turn 13. Zayek just about gets out of the way there at the last second, but not without costing Ecos Forzan a bit of time. And Zayek's teammate James also getting slightly in the way. Ecos Forzan getting a little bit of wheel spin out of turn 14 into turn 15. He was up on his time coming out of the second sector, but is he still up on his time coming across the line? No, he is not. He's not able to improve. It looks like he will be going for his second lap time in a row, or no, he's not. He's actually slowed it down and broken one of the breakers, one of the boards, but it looks like he's actually got a 5-place grid penalty for colliding with Zayek, and is now reversing on track. Really not too sure what he's doing here, but it looks like he is now disqualified from the session, and that means he is not going to be getting a pole position. I think you might be able to understand why I'm slightly confused on why he's done that. Xiaomi, though, on the medium compound tyres, is able to get himself up into P5. That's a great lap from him. Zayek has invalidated his lap time so a bit. 8,000 RPM is currently on the lap. Purple to the middle sector, 2/10 up on his time. How fast can he go through this final sector now? He might get a little bit of a slipstream of Bacon ahead, but it looks like he might have actually been affected by a little bit of dirty air there, but on the run into the line. And yeah, I think Zayek isn't wrong. I think Ecos Forzan, as Zayek has just told us in the live chat, that Ecos Forzan has brake checked him. So one of the owners of this league is brake checking another driver, and that's definitely not the look you want to be giving to your league. But he's now been disqualified from the session. He's going to be starting on the back row with his teammate Secret. He wasn't able to get a lap time in, so yeah, I really don't know what Ecos Forzan was doing. He obviously got a little bit angry that Zayek got in the way of his lap time, but I think brake checking someone, especially when you're owner, probably isn't the best idea if you're going to listen to my advice at all. But it looks like the Ico Bickle will be getting pole position for tonight's race with a 16.4. Sobitz wasn't able to improve on his final lap time, and he is going to be getting a close front row, just 9 1,000ths behind the Ico Bickle. Zayek is going to finish P3 and on the second row alongside the Ico Bickle's teammate, 8,000 RPM. So AlphaTauri having a decent qualifying session, and a little bit of drama between Zayek and Ecos Forzan. So Bamboo Vegas will be qualifying on the third row with Xiaomi on the medium compound tyres in P6. That's a good qualifying from the Canadian driver. Crooner is going to be starting P7 for Ferrari, just 2 positions behind his teammate, with Formula Jonah alongside him. Vacan Haddock in P9 for Aston Martin, and James on the medium compound tyre. He tried to go for the mediums, but is just about getting into the top 10 there. So we'll have to see if that pays off for him. Viperize and Ericsson Ethan. Ericsson Ethan only setting a 19.5, 3.1 seconds off the pace. Viperize setting an 18.1. They will both get the free choice of tyres. And Ecos Forzan, the big talking point, obviously getting angry at Zayek at the end of the session there, actually ended up brake checking him and disqualified himself from the session. So interesting to see from him, to say the least. But that is going to be the end of qualifying. We're now moving on to the race, and it looks like dark skies. Could we see some rain later on in this race, just like we saw in Group 2? It looks like Vacant has actually lost connection to the session, which is a shame to see. Hopefully he's able to rejoin quickly enough. But we'll have to see. Alright, so it looks like the drivers are now getting ready to start their formation lap before the start of the race. And the Ico will be leading the way coming into turn 1. And a decent start position for him. Sobits will be starting alongside him in the Mercedes. If I'm not mistaken, a reserve in this league. So I'm sure he'll be quite happy with that result. And just to have a quick look at the results, yes, Betham is an Aston Martin driver, but I think, yeah, he is an Aston Martin driver. I think he scored almost all of his team's points, and that's why they were in the championship battle, but obviously he hasn't been able to show up recently. But the Ico has not yet won in Group 1, so this would be a great opportunity for him to win his first race. And I was dead right when I said Betham has won every single round this season. He was a reserve for the first 2 rounds and then switched to a full-time drive at round 3. So, yeah, he won the championship with 125 points. But now the Ico and 8,000 RPM have been working together to get themselves into the lead of the Constructors' Championship. And he is now having an opportunity to be the second driver to win a race this entire season, or at least the second different driver. And well, I'm just absolutely amazed that Betham has won every single race. That just shows his pace and what it's been like compared to everyone else. He's absolutely dominated every single race. But Ico could make his name known, and he could be one of 2 drivers to win this season. We'll have to see. All the drivers are now lining up on the grid, and obviously Ecos Forzan lining up last after getting disqualified from the session. So, as he lines up in his grid spot, we are now getting ready for the race to be underway. As the Ico lines up on pole position, we have 5 red lights. They're gone and we're away. What kind of start is it for our pole man, the Ico? It looks like a decent one, but Sobits gets a better one. He's alongside coming into turn 1. He goes down the inside. Can he get this move done on the Ico? Pushes him slightly wide and off the track, and Sobits gets the lead of the Grand Prix coming into turn 1. He is now leading this race. Zayak maintaining P3, 8,000 RPM, losing out of position to Kroner, who pushes him off of the track at the exit of turn 4. Shahomi losing a position there, if I'm not mistaken, or maybe no, he's maintained P6 on the medium compactor tires. Bamboo Vegas has moved all the way down to P7. Bacon in P8. Secret moving all the way up to P9, and now going side by side with Bacon. Concedes the position, allows Bacon to keep P8 for now, but it looks like he's made a mistake or possibly been tagged from behind by Viprise, and that has caused him to spin on entry coming into turn 8, and that's going to cost him quite a bit of time. As you can see, James also must have made a mistake. He's down in P14, so both drivers not having the best of race starts, but I'm sure they can make a comeback. They're still within DRS of Ericsson, Ethan, and everyone else. Viprise is the only driver to have lost DRS, which has not yet been enabled, so he still has a chance to catch up to the top 8 and get himself within DRS before lap 3 begins and the DRS is enabled. Looks like Sobits has led the first lap, and that was a good move into turn 1. Pushed the Ico slightly wide, and the Stewards might have to look at that one, but he is in the lead for now. The Ico pulling away from Zayak now, almost broken the DRS. As you can see, it is on the teetering edge coming out of turn 4. It looks like he has now broken it, and that is going to hurt Zayak once lap 3 comes around. And I think you see coming into turn 5, actually using second gear through there, so very delicate throttle work to get the car through the exit. And as you can see coming into turn 8, he touches that inside curb. That's caused him to slide the car slightly, and that's not really what you want to be doing going through that turn. But Zayek currently on the podium after not having the best of races in Group 2 yesterday. Crooner makes a mistake. 8,000 RPM, is all over his gearbox and waiting for an opportunity to make a move on any of these turns, but we'll have to see when he makes it. A bit of a wider line coming into turn 14 to try and gain advantage coming into turn 15, but it doesn't look like he's done just that. He's 4 tenths behind and trying to get closer. So that's another fast lap of the Grand Prix at 19.5, actually starting to pull away from the Bickle slightly. So it's a good showing from him in what I think is his first race, or all I know is that he is a reserve in this league, and he is doing quite decently for himself. I might be looking at a full-time seat next season. We'll have to see. 8,000 RPM still on the back of Crooner. The DRS is now labelled on lap 3, so Zayek is going to be under some pressure from the two cars behind. And you can see at that turn 5, no one making up too many positions off the race start. As you see here, actually, Crooner making up 3 positions all the way from P7 to P4, almost switching positions with his teammate, who's now down in P7, who started P5. Ecos Forzan from the back of the grid up into P9 now, and chasing. He's actually almost lost the DRS. Has made a mistake in the middle sector. That's a turn 8. He's managed to spin the car, and that has cost him quite a bit of time. It looks like Viperize also makes a mistake, and that's put him down into P13, and thankfully hasn't lost him too much time to James ahead of him. The gap is now 4 seconds, but he's got some pushing to do to catch up. The Bickle is still within DRS of Sohabit, so he's managed to close that gap down quite nicely to just 4 tenths now. And Ecos Forzan makes another move, moves himself up into P8. The Bickle coming into turn 5 now isn't able to find a way past Sohabits there. The Crooner getting quite close to the back of Zayek. Not able to make a move into turn 5 just yet. And 8,000 RPM is still in that battle, but since Crooner has the DRS on Zayek ahead of him, he's not really able to make a move. That's a Williams spinning in the background there. That Xiaomi, who started on the medium compound tires, was in such a great position. He's reset to track now, which I'm not sure is allowed, but he's now all the way down in P12. That is a shame to see from him. He's now under pressure from Viperize. He's trying to find a way past, but not going to make it happen coming into turn 10 and 11. So that's a shame to see from Xiaomi, who is on the medium compound tires and was looking to do quite well in this race. We saw the medium soft strategy work quite nicely in Group 2, but obviously there was a safety car and rain in that race. So that is really going to hurt Xiaomi's race. Hopefully he can recover from that mistake, but we'll have to see if he can. Bickle getting very close to the back of Sohabits, just 2 tenths behind. Had a look at going down into turn 3, and he's now quite close to the back of him coming into turn 4. He has the DRS on Sohabits ahead of him coming into turn 5. Will he be looking for a move? It doesn't look like he'll be looking for a move just yet, as Sohabits actually goes wide there, and I don't know if he's disconnected from the session. It had a red X beside his name. That might just be his connection, and yes, it is. He has actually disconnected from the session, and at the worst time possible. The Bickle has now found a way past since Sohabits has disconnected, and the Bickle is already pulling out a gap, so Sohabits has to join as quickly as possible if he wants to get back into this race. You can see Zayek has already got him, and it's going to be looking for a move soon enough. Can Sohabits get back into the session? You can see with 40 difficulty AI, all the drivers just absolutely cruise past them, and it's going to lose Sohabits so much time coming through this lap, and we'll have to see if he can rejoin. Let's hope that he can, but I'm not sure if he'll be able to, and even if he can, he'll be quite a ways off of the lead. compared to where he once was, and that was in the lead. So a shame to see that his internet not doing him justice, but he has rejoined from the session and he's almost within DRS of 8,000 RPM. His AI is still in control, but he's about to take control in a second. Shahomny has now disconnected from the session. It looks like a lot of people struggling with their Wi-Fi connection. Sobic has not yet taken control of his car and he's lost 2 more positions because of it. Ekos Forzan started P14, now up into P6. Sobic still has not taken control of his car. He needs to do this sooner than later. He's losing so much time to the drivers ahead. He's so far up in the lead now. The gap, he was ahead of the Ico Bickle. The gap is now 8.6 seconds. He has now retaken control of his car, but it has really cost him in this race, which is a shame to see. But he's now on the back of Vacant here, and he'll be looking to get past and push nice and hard to try and get back to the position where he was. But I'm not sure if that's going to be doable for him. But we'll have to see. He's going to push nice and hard for this next lap. He's going to try and find a way past Vacant, and then after that he'll be looking to get back into the battle with the top 6. And Vacant does not have the DRS. It looks like Secret using quite a bit of his ERS. Is it going to be a double overtake on Vacant? It looks like it might be. Secret in the background dives down the inside of Vacant, and it looks like Vacant tried to leave the space there, just did not leave enough going into turn 1. It's very difficult to leave enough space, and it looks like that's cost Secret even more time. He spun on lap 1, he spun again on lap 7, and this is a bit of an unlucky race for Secret in that Alfa Romeo, and I'm sure he's not going to be too happy with what's happened to him so far. And he tried to dive down that inside. I think Vacant could have left a little more room, and you see, I think his tyres are a bit overheated there, and has caused him to go deep coming into turn 7, but he's now in P11 and trying to chase James ahead of him. But Sobitz is now in P7 and in the DRS of Bamboo Vegas, set a purple middle sector, and is on a charge to try and get back into the lead of this Grand Prix. You can see the top 6 have all lost DRS to each other. I'm not too sure what's happened there, but they've all lost DRS to each other, so they're going to have to push quite hard to get back within DRS. You can see 8,000 RPM Crooner, Ekos Forzan, Bamboo Vegas. Sohabitz is the only man with the DRS, and he is the only man who has the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. He just sets it there. It didn't tell us what it is, but if we have a checker, he said a 19.4. That's quite a quick time from him. Broke a bit late there, made contact with Bamboo, and is now trying to find a way past coming into turn 4. Hopefully he doesn't have wing damage because of that. Vacant has rejoined the session. Sobitz dives down the inside coming into turn 5. Who can get the better traction coming out of here? It looks like the answer is Bamboo Vegas in that Ferrari, and coming into turn 7 he does have that position. It looks like a yellow flag in the middle section. Not too sure what that was for, but Bamboo Vegas is able to maintain P6 for now. Sobitz trying to find a way past. He wants to get back up into the top 5, if not the top 3. It looks like Bamboo Vegas, his red light was flashing, whereas Sobitz is on about 30% ERS, so he's got plenty to play with compared to Vegas. Crooner gets himself a 3-second time penalty, and that is going to lose him quite a few positions in this race. Ico Bickle starts lap 9. Zaya coming across the line is 4 seconds behind, with Crooner 1.8 behind. Ekos Forzan is now promoted into P4 after 8,000 RPM. Comes into the pit lane. Sobitz now looking for a move down to turn 1. He's able to get that move done before the braking zone with the power of the DRS and the ERS advantage over Vegas. He moves himself up into P5, gaining 2 positions after the AlphaTauri of 8,000 RPM. What tires? If we look here at the tyre selection, he's gone on to medium, so he is going for the 1 stop, but that's quite an aggressive undercut. His tyres are going to be quite worn towards the end of the Grand Prix. It looks like James and Vacant going side by side through turn 5, and right behind them Secret and Formula Jonah battling it out. Vacant has gotten the better of James and maintains P7 for now. Secret has gotten the better of Formula Jonah and stays in P9 in that Alfa Romeo, doing pretty decently for himself after having 2 spins, just trying to make a recovery here. So let's see if he can keep on pushing, if he can get ahead of James. He is currently on the medium compound tyres. Those are the tyres he started on, along with Igor Sporsan and James and Shahomi all starting on the medium tyres. And obviously Igor Sporsan is the lead medium runner, I think pretty decently for himself in P4 at this stage of the Grand Prix. He has got the DRS now on Kruner ahead of him. His red light is flashing, and it looks like Igor Sporsan will be looking for a move down into turn 1, and it looks like Igor Sporsan didn't leave any space, and I think that's alright because he did get that move done before the braking zone, just about. Kruner, being a bit aggressive on the brakes, wasn't too happy with that, makes contact with the back of Igor Sporsan. You better hope that he doesn't have wind damage because of that, but Igor Sporsan is now going to try and pull away from Kruner and try and catch up to Zayak. The mediums are now definitely phasing in and coming into play. James is diving down the inside of Vacant once again, but Vacant, those soft tyres still hanging on just slightly. Formula Jonah, or no, this is James and Secret. Secret is trying to get past James. He pushes him off the track, which gets him a 3-second time penalty. So Secret pushes James off the track to get himself up into P8. He's now looking to find a way past Vacant. Vacant pushes him to the inside, and is Secret going to find a way past Vacant, scared off of the track? That might get him a warning. Doesn't give him the best exit. James now trying to find a way past into turn 13. Vacant breaks too late, hits Secret and pushes James off the track. A lot of drivers pushing each other off the track, and that might be quite a few steward inquiries. It looks like Vacant is now being overtaken by James, and it looks like these two drivers are being extremely aggressive at this stage of the Grand Prix. Sohobits finally getting up back into the top 4 and trying to chase down Igor Sporsan now, who is on the medium tyres, which will most likely be faster. James and Vacant Haddock still going at it into turn 1 now. Vacant has the inside line for turn 3. Can he get this move done on James and move himself back into PA? But it looks like they made contact with each other, and that's caused Vacant to push James wide. James has now spun on the exit of turn 3. That's going to cost him quite a lot of time, and that is what happens when 3 extremely aggressive drivers are battling it out on track for points paying positions. It's never going to end well when you have 2 very aggressive drivers going at it. Obviously both of the drivers are reserves, they have nothing really to lose, although that shouldn't take away from their sportsmanship behavior on track. So Secret obviously desperate to get past, could have had a race-long battle, but it was ended right there. And yeah, in my opinion, just some extremely aggressive driving from the both of them. That now moves Formula Jonah up into P8 and allows Secret to pull out a bit of a gap in P7. Sohobits now comes into the pit lane for a fresh set of medium compound tyres, which he will be taking till the end of the Grand Prix. But where is this going to put them out? It might put him out behind the Red Bull or the AlphaTauri. Remember, 8,000 RPM did an extremely aggressive undercut. And where is that going to put him out relative to Sohobits, who is now boxing after quite a few laps after 8,000 RPM. It's been 3 laps now, and 8,000 RPM hasn't even gained that big of an advantage. It's only about 1.7 seconds, 2 seconds now. So around 2.5 seconds, so that aggressive undercut really was not worth it for 8,000 RPM, and his tyres are now going to be very worn compared to everyone else for the rest of the Grand Prix. So really did not work out too well for him, but Sohobits using the right strategy here at the right time. He wants to catch up to the top 3, so he's going to go for that undercut to try and gain some time on them. He might lose a little bit of time if he catches up to 8,000 RPM and has to deal with that traffic. That might lose him a little bit of time. Hopefully 8,000 RPM doesn't hold him up too much, if Sohobits can even catch him. It looks like the Red Bull of Zayak is now choosing to box for the mediums. He's now responding to Sohobits, and it looks like he is the only one responding to that. So a lot of drivers on very mixed strategies here. He is now on the medium compound of tyres. Is his overcut going to work on Sohobits? And it looked like it might work on Sohobits. He did have a decent gap before Sohobits came into the pit lane. Is he even going to come out ahead of 8,000 RPM as well? He's going to come out behind his teammate James, who's yet to box, but he comes out ahead of 8,000 RPM, so you can see that aggressive undercut has really not worked out too well for him. And Zayak is now on the undercut, so it looks like the undercut really isn't working too well at this stage of Grand Prix, so maybe the overcut is the viable strategy. 8,000 RPM, you just saw he went beyond the white lines, got himself a warning. That is now added up to a 3-second time penalty. That is going to cost him a few positions in this race. Sobitz almost in the DRS of 8,000 RPM, who is also almost in the DRS of Zayek just ahead. Vacant has found a way past Formula Jonah, moves himself up into P6. They're both yet to box, and along with the rest of the top 8 and Shahomi, all waiting to make their pit stop, but Ikel is choosing now. Egos Forzan on the mediums is not going to come in just yet, and is Kruner though, as it doesn't look like it, but his teammate is going to take this opportunity because he doesn't want to double stack, so he's going to take this opportunity to box for the fresh medium compound tires. Let's see where our net leader is going to come out relative to Zayek, who was in P2 if I'm not mistaken, and has that undercut worked out for Zayek? We'll see now what is the gap. Sobitz setting the fastest lap on the medium tires, and he's actually making his way past 8,000 RPM down the inside into turn 1, gets that move done before the braking zone, moves himself up into P7, and now has a clear shot at James now, because it looks like the two Red Bull teammates have swapped positions. So James, the reserve driver, playing the team game, he knows that he has 13 lap old mediums and a time penalty, so he's going to let Zayek through, who's chasing down the leader at the Ikel. It looks like the gap isn't massively unchanged, still around 5 seconds to Ikel ahead, so Zayek is going to have to do some pushing to catch up now, and he is going to have slight one lap older tires than the Ikel ahead. Ericsson Ethan really struggling with the time penalties. I think he has been lapped by Ecos Forzan, as you can see there on the minimap on the pit straight. So it looks like a bit of a DRS train forming here between James, who is leading it so a bit, and 8,000 RPM trying to get himself into the mix. Kruner has now come into pit lane for some medium compound tires. Ericsson Ethan has made a mistake at turn 1. You can see he gets on those medium tires. Where's Ericsson Ethan? You can see made a mistake at turn 1 there. That cost him a bit of time. Sobitz has set the fastest lap of the Grand Prix, and he's looking to make his way past James, and he's done exactly that. He's made another move before the braking zone, moved himself up into P5, and is now chasing down Zayek ahead. Sobitz is on an absolute charge after disconnecting in the early stages of the Grand Prix, and he is now in the DRS of Zayek ahead of him, puts in a purple first sector, and he's setting very fast sector times, and he could even chase down Ikel if he keeps his pace up. We'll have to see if Ikel can respond to those fastest laps, or whether or not he does. Whether or not he has the pace on those medium compound tires. It's definitely going to be interesting to see. The two Alfa Romeos on the medium compound tires yet to box, and I think they will be boxing around lap anywhere between lap 20 and 23. So in about 4 to 7 laps time, we could see the Alfa Romeo drivers boxing. But Ecos Forzan is leading this Grand Prix. He has a 15-second gap to Ikel, and that means he will be coming out around 7 seconds behind, but he will have those soft tires, which are heaps faster than the medium. Sobitz once again setting the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. He's setting extremely consistent times here. It's an 18.6, and I think last lap was either an 18.6 or an 18.7. So very consistent lap times here from Sobitz. This is getting him ever closer to Zayek, and this is actually forced Zayek to push a little here, and he's actually gained a little bit of time to the Ikel ahead. So Sobitz pushing Zayek to find those extra tenths to catch up to the net race leader, which is exactly what both of those drivers want to do. Zayek trying to get a podium. He's very good in the qualifying, a bit of a TT merchant, but really struggles with consistency in the race, especially mistakes wise. So if he can keep that all under control, he could be looking at, if I'm not mistaken, his first podium in LSR. Let's see if he can do that. He's come a long way to get here, and let's see if he can finally get that podium he's been looking for in Group 2 and Group 1. and it would be even sweeter to get it in Group 1 since he is a Group 2 full-time driver. So Sobitz is now 3.5 tenths behind and is going to have the DRS for the straight. He's going to absolutely breeze past him coming into turn 1. As you can see here, uses Zipstream, actually goes for the racing line because he doesn't expect Zayek to fight back, but Zayek tries to go and hold it down the inside, but I think he had to concede that position. He doesn't want to make any silly mistakes at this stage of the Grand Prix. 8,000 RPM has now caught up to James and is in the DRS. Sequit, though, gets himself a 3-second time penalty. That's really going to hurt him once he makes his pit stop. So this race shaping up to be quite an entertaining one, as Zayek is now holding on to DRS of Sobitz, and if he can hold on to DRS of Sobitz, he could be in with a chance to catch up to Iko ahead if they can work together with the power of the DRS. But we'll have to see. He's been able to stay within the DRS for this entire lap, and hopefully he can hold it for the rest of the race. We'll have to see. The gap is currently 7 tenths to Sobitz ahead of him, and he's going to gain quite a bit of time on this DRS straight now. Let's see exactly how much. 6 tenths is the gap. The DRS is now open. Could he possibly even be looking for a move? He's not using any of his ERS, so he doesn't really want to overtake. Even pulls slightly out of the slipstream there. So into turn 1, he wants to stay behind. He wants Sobitz to push out in front. But Zayek showing some good pace at this stage of the Grand Prix. Let's hope he can keep it consistent, as Sobitz going off of the track there. That could possibly get him a warning. Zayek has a look down the inside, tries to get Sobitz off his line, but he's not going to fall for that. So he's going to maintain P4 for now and still chasing down Iko, but he's seen that Sobitz is now behind him and he's upped the ante, and the gap is now staying at a consistent 5 seconds. So that disconnection for Sobitz has really cost him. Who knows, he could have even looked at a race win here in Group 1 at Portugal if he didn't disconnect. He did lose over 5 seconds, so he could have even pulled out a gap on Iko, but sadly that's not how it's ended out. The Iko is now within the DRS of Secret, who is yet to box, although he will be boxing within the next 5 laps. So watch out for that. The Iko with the power of the DRS getting nice and close to him. You can see Secret's red light is flashing. He's low on the battery, and that is going to cost him quite heavily on the straights. And guess what? After the pit straight, we have yet another DRS straight on the run down into turn 5. Can Iko look for a move going into there? It does not look like he is close enough. This DRS straight is a bit shorter than the pit straight, but definitely opens up some opportunities to overtake into turn 5. Secret a bit squirrelish out of turn 5 there, spins the wheels trying to push the accelerator on exit and gain as much time as possible. He's on all mediums now, so he is going to be losing quite a bit of time to people on fresh mediums, but this is actually holding the Iko up, which is allowing Sobitz to close down the gap. Secret pulls the right hand side, as it looks like he's actually trying to let the Iko through, or is he? He goes side by side with him. I think he wanted the Iko to go through, let him through at a bit of an awkward corner, but he's let him through nonetheless. But maybe that's because he wants DRS for this main straight, and maybe he's actually trying to battle for this position, and I think that's exactly what he's doing. He's using the ERS, he's using the DRS. He's now down to 0% ERS, and he's going to be able to get past the Iko purely on DRS. But Iko is trying to fight back here into turn 3, goes down the inside into turn 2. Secret, though, goes down the inside into turn 3. Wheels banging between the two drivers. Secret trying to hold it around the outside at turn 4. Gets squeezed off the track. That gives him another 3-second time penalty. The Iko has the inside line for turn 5. Secret goes for the switchback. Iko goes deep into that turn. Secret maintaining P2, but has 6 seconds of time penalties. And this is all playing into Sobitz's hands, who has now caught them by about 1.5 seconds and is really gaining a lot of time in this race. James has made a mistake. That's at turn 5. That's cost him quite a bit of time now. It looks like the two Ferraris and the AlphaTauri are also battling it out, and James's spin has caused the full court safety car to come out. This has helped Ecos Forzan massively, and I just have to catch my breath here. Ecos Forzan is now going to come into the pit lane for some fresh soft compound tyres, and Sequit is going to do the exact same. This has really played into their hands. It's also played into Sobit's hands quite nicely. Sequit, though, on 6 seconds, is not going to be looking at a podium in this race. And he actually manages to get himself another 5-second time penalty, which brings him up to a grand total seconds of time penalties. And as you can see, a lot of drivers coming into the pit lane for soft compound tyres, including Sequit, the Bickle, Sohabits, Bamboo Vegas and Crooner double stacking 8,000 RPM and Jane. So most of the grid have come in for fresh softs, but Zayak has gone for the gamble. He's gone for track position. And, I don't think that's the right choice, purely because of the overtaking difficulty around this track, which is quite low. The Bickle has decided to go on to medium compound tyres, and not to be rude, but I think that might be an awful strategy, because now everyone around him is on soft tyres, which will make it to the end of the race, and Bickle has only gained an advantage of about 7 lap fresher mediums. So a bit of a pointless pit stop there, which is going to cost him heavily in this race, compared to Sohabits, who is now right behind him and battling against him. Zayak leading this race, 7 lap all mediums. He is not going to maintain that lead for long. Ecos Forzan with the soft compound tyres is going to have so much more pace. Zayak not on the right strategy. The Bickle not on the right strategy. Viperize, Xiaomi all on the wrong strategy. Everyone you see on soft compound tyres has made the right call. And if only about 3 people went for soft tyres, that would have been the wrong play. Because usually when a safety car comes out, you want to be with the majority. Otherwise, you are most likely on the wrong strategy. So that includes Zayak, the Bickle, Viperize and Xiaomi. So Zayak is going to be overtaken quite quickly. But with everyone's time penalties, he could be looking at P4 in this Grand Prix, which I'm sure he'd be happy with. It's not a podium, which is obviously what he wants. But this is a strategy he's chosen, and it's looking like P4 or P4 might be a best case scenario. Possibly P3. He only has 8 lap older tyres than the Bickle, so if he has enough pace to keep the Bickle behind, then maybe, just maybe, he'll be able to get a podium in LSR. We'll have to see. Ecos Forzan currently in the best position in these fresh soft compound tyres. 1 driver ahead of him who's on old mediums, and once he overtakes Zayak, he'll be able to pull away quite nicely. Zayak will hold up the rest of the grid. Ecos Forzan will be able to pull out a nice gap. They could be looking at winning this race from the back of the grid after a bit of a dodgy be happy from starting all the way down in P14 to winning the Portuguese Grand Prix. That would be a sight to see, and if I'm not mistaken, exactly what happened in Group 2. SL Mango, he started from the back of the grid after a qualifying ban, won the race. Ecos Forzan started at the back of the grid looking to win this race, and it could be a case where whoever starts has the best chance of winning. We'll have to see. Sequit in P3, currently on 11 seconds of time penalties. He does not have a real chance at a podium here, and as you can see, he needs to be 8 seconds ahead of everyone with 3-second time penalties. So he's really not looking too good for a high points paying position in this race. But the safety car is now coming in this lap, and Zayak leads the race. We're waiting for him to get this race back underway. The Sobits is going to be battling the Bickle quite hard. It looks like Zayak has chosen now for the safety car restart, and he's actually slowed it down. He decided to try and dummy them, but it's not worked out well for him. This has only helped out Ecos Forzan and also Sequits. This is a terrible safety car restart for Zayak. Secret getting boxed in there. Looks like Ecos Forzan pushing Zayak wide. Secret takes the sausage curb at turn 2 to try and find a way past Zayak. He's now going to try and fight back coming into turn 5. He takes the inside line up against Zayak on all medium tyres. It looks like Secret goes very deep there. This has now allowed Ickle Bickle to get into the fight and allows Ickle Bickle to get past Zayak on those old medium tyres. And it looks like the Ickle Bickle has gotten himself a time penalty. Zayak goes wide there after making a mistake, if I'm not mistaken. Or Sobitz was alongside, I'm not too sure. The Ickle Bickle has gotten himself a 3-second time penalty. Currently the podium is Ecos Forzan, Sohabitz and Zayak. All three are reserves in this division. Zayak now loses another position, really struggling on those medium compound tyres. He might not get onto the podium. It could be Bamboo Vegas that we see on the podium in this Portuguese Grand Prix. Zayak needs to find some pace here, and he's already regretting his decision to stay out on medium compound tyres. Secret now on the back of Ecos Forzan, looking for a move into turn 1. He doesn't have the power of the DRS, and he actually decides to lift, so he doesn't want to overtake his teammate just yet. The Ickle Bickle is trying to catch up to these two, because he still has a small chance of a podium in this race. Well, actually quite a big chance now that Zayak has fallen so far back. You can see he's being absolutely swamped by everyone at this stage of the Grand Prix. He's fallen all the way down from P1 to P6. You can now see James actually made contact with the side of 8,000 RPM there, and that caused his car to ghost for a split second. Zayak is now settling down in P6. Is he within 3 seconds of the Ickle Bickle? I think he's just about. He needs to maintain this gap for the next 9 laps though, so it's going to be quite difficult to do, but let's see if he can do it to get his first podium in LSR. He's going to have to push quite hard for the rest of this Grand Prix on old medium tyres right now. So if it's in the DRS, a net P2 in this race as for Ecos Forzan sets the fast lap of the Grand Prix, which is stolen away from him by Sohabitz, who sets an 18.3, an absolutely rapid time to set on soft compound tyres during the race. On lap 25, you can see he brakes very late coming into turn 3 there, and had to compromise his line slightly to avoid contact with Ickle Bickle ahead of him. So right now Secret is just hanging behind Ecos Forzan. He doesn't want to make his teammates' life too difficult since he does have 11 seconds in time penalties. He's hoping to stay within the DRS of Ecos Forzan and possibly pull out a bit of a gap. Zayak is now outside of 3 seconds of the Ickle Bickle, or maybe he's just about inside. It's very, very close, but if he wants to catch up, he really needs to get it within the DRS of Bamboo Vegas, who's on press soft, so it's going to be quite difficult to do. You can see Ickle Bickle went with a wide line to get a good exit, and that really disrupted Sobitz there, who's lost loads of time. He's now 1.5 seconds behind, and his internet strikes again. He is disconnected from the session, and he is going to be absolutely fuming with his Wi-Fi connection. This now promotes Zayak into the podium positions, and right now Ickle Bickle is currently P2 in this race with Zayak in P3. Secret now goes for the move on Ecos Forzan. Has Sohabitz joined already? No, he hasn't, but his AI manages to set the fast off the Grand Prix. Secret dives down the inside of Ecos Forzan into turn 1, gets that move done. Zayak now overtaking Sohabitz Ghost. Is Ecos Forzan able to fight back into turn 5? It doesn't look like it. He brakes way too late, misses his braking point, gets himself a 3-second time penalty. That could heavily affect his race. Sohabitz has now rejoined the session and has come out just behind P8, which is Kruner in the Ferrari. He hasn't yet taken control of his car and is now overtaken by Formula Jonah. And there's quite a big battle here going on for P5 in this race. Zayak on all mediums leading this DRS train, and the two Alfa Romeos battling it out for the on-track lead in this race. Has Sohabitz rejoined the session? It looks like he has. He's down in P11. He goes wide at turn 13, and he is not going to be happy with this race at all. He could have won here in Portugal, but it does not look like it's going to happen anymore. Ecos Forsen, you can see the straight line speed up against Secret, gets that move done before the braking zone, moves himself up into P1 once again, and is ahead of his teammate Secret, but Secret is going to fight back, and will he be looking for a move into turn 5? We'll have to see what is the speed difference between the two drivers, and it doesn't look like Secret has enough on that particular occasion to get past Ecos Forsen. Diego Bickle currently P3 in this race, in a bit of a no man's land. He's on medium compound tyres, so he's not really going to be catching the drivers ahead, but also Bamboo on the fresh softs behind isn't catching him by too much either. Zayak has almost actually caught up to the DRS of Bamboo ahead of him. We'll be able to see if he can get himself into that DRS and hopefully drag himself along to keep himself out of danger from the soft runners behind. James getting quite close to the back of Crooner coming into turn 13 now. You can see Crooner with a very nice line going into there. So a bit's currently P10 behind Formula Jonah. Will he be looking for a move on this next DRS straight? It's going to be quite difficult to make any overtakes at this stage, as everyone ahead of him has the DRS. Secret, once again, will he be looking for a move into turn 1? He has 0% ERS and absolutely no straight line speed because of it. 8,000 RPM, isn't able to find a way past Zayak at this stage of the Grand Prix. We have 6 laps to go in this race, so not too much left in this race, so everyone really wants to be getting a move on here if they want to get the best positions. Right now, a lot of people having penalties. I'm not really too sure where everyone is at this stage, but right now we'll just focus on the on-track action, and we'll see how it all ends up at the end of this Grand Prix, and how the results will be affected by all of these time penalties. Crooner, you can see a bit of a slide coming out of turn 8, and James is just patiently waiting to capitalize on one of Crooner's mistakes. We'll see if he's able to do it anytime soon, as Crooner makes another mistake, gets himself a 3-second time penalty. That is going to lose him quite a few positions in this race, and only 2 drivers don't have penalties. Soapit, who's been so fast this entire race but has had connection issues, and Zayak, who struggles with consistency usually, is the consistency king at this track apparently, at 0 seconds of time penalties and in P5. A great position in this race. James now trying to find a way past. He has 0% ERS though, and the same thing happened with Secret, but 8,000 RPM has spun at turn 1. I don't know if he's touched the sausage grab if he tried to go down the inside of Zayak, but nevertheless he has now spun. He's down in P11, and that does not have a good chance of points here. James is now trying to find a way past Crooner coming into turn 5. You can see Crooner really squeezing him to the inside, and James returns the favour, but that actually affects his exit quite heavily. So a bit looking to capitalise, but isn't going to make a move into turn 7 nor turn 8, although he does get quite close to the rear of him, and coming off the exit of turn 8. So a bit is now in P8, and I'm really not sure what his net position is. It could be at P6, possibly P5. Not too sure at this stage of the Grand Prix. It looks like Zayak is pulling out a bit of a gap on Crooner behind them, almost breaking DRS with these medium compound tyres. So he's managed to find his footing in this late stage of the Grand Prix with these mediums. So we'll have to see if it was the right strategy or not. Could he have gained more time on the softs? Who knows? But if he did and maintained 0 seconds of time penalties, he would have been looking quite good in this race. You can see a lot of drivers struggling with the ERS management. Zayak is another one of them. He is quite low on the battery charge. Secret not looking for a move on Ecos Forsen. Looks like those two have calmed down just a bit, but Secret, I'm sure, will be saving up a little bit of his ERS to go for a move towards the end of Grand Prix, although he's still quite low on the ERS. James gets himself a 3-second time penalty. I think that's because he's under quite a bit of pressure from Soapits behind him. Coming into turn 8, you can see him make contact with the back of him. That causes James some wheel spin, coming out of turn 8, you can just see that Sobitz wants him to get a move on. James has now lost the DRS to the 2 drivers ahead, and this could make Sovitz's life a bit easier and possibly allow him to make an easier move on the pit straight with the power of the DRS. But you can see James is now back in the DRS of Kruger ahead. 8,000 RPM, spins once again and is now down in P12, and that's a shame to see. He could have gotten some decent points for AlphaTauri, but AlphaTauri qualified P1 and 4 aren't looking to do as well as they were after qualifying. Does Sobitz have the straight line speed? He has 0% ERS. You can see almost every driver at the end of that pit straight has 0% ERS, so it's definitely quite tricky to manage your ERS. Sobitz goes for a very aggressive dive there, was entitled absolutely no space, and that's exactly how much space he was given from James ahead. That's now lost him quite a bit of time. As you can see, he really wants to get past, but he's making some silly moves now, possibly losing some concentration, which will cost him in this Grand Prix. Zayek still keeping a good pace out in front now in P5 on his old medium tyres, and actually gained quite a bit of time there on Vegas coming out of turn 8. Not too sure. I think Vegas might be struggling with traction, as you saw coming out of turn 11 there, and now into turn 13. Zayek is actually almost in the DRS of Vegas. What has happened to Vegas? Could he possibly have wing damage, as he's lost a lot of time there on that last lap? Looking above his end plates, there's a few scrapes, but nothing major, and that has allowed Zayek to get within the DRS of Vegas ahead of him. So that's quite interesting to see that Vegas has lost so much pace, and if Zayek can get within 3 seconds of the Eco Bickley, could be looking at P2 here if I'm not mistaken. So Zayek is going to be all out push on this penultimate lap of the Grand Prix. Kruger in P6, James in P7. Sobitz now lost the DRS to James ahead after that optimistic dive into turn 3, and that might cost him a position or 2 in this race. James still hanging on to the DRS of Kruger ahead of him, and the 2 Red Bulls versus the 2 Ferraris. They might not be battling it out for the top 4 like in real life, but they're still battling each other nonetheless. And it looks like we have a Ferrari leading this group. He's lost quite a lot of pace on that last lap and on this lap as well. Zayek could be looking for a move at any stage now, and as you can see, makes a mistake. I was going to talk about something else, but Zayek makes a mistake there, and a bit of wheel spin has cost him a little bit of time. This has actually allowed him to save up a bit of his ERS, so now he doesn't have to burn as much to stay ahead of Bamboo's teammate. And we are now entering the final lap of the Grand Prix. Zayek on the back of Vegas. He has to make this move coming into turn 5, otherwise the opportunities are going to be few and far apart. So let's see if he can get a good exit through turn 4 now, and it does not look like the best one. Vegas gets a much better exit. James, though, using all of his ERS to try and find a way past coming into turn 5, braking as late as he possibly can, tries to go for a switchback. That's not going to work at turn 5 there, so he can't find a way past Kruger, and it looks like these drivers might be maintaining their positions for the rest of the race. You can see James pushing as hard as he possibly can to gain any sort of positions, but just getting some wheel spin out of turn 8. I don't think anyone will be looking for a move into these final few turns, but we'll have to see. Zayek is 5 tenths behind Vegas. You have to go for a bit of a lunge to make any sort of progress here. Now coming into turn 14, and Ecos Forzan is going to come across the line to win the Portuguese Grand Prix. He is just the 2nd different race winner in LSR Group 1. The Ico Bico finishes P2 with Secret, finishing down in P4. Zayek scores his very first podium in LSR history, and he is going to be absolutely buzzing after that one, and he's going to be very happy with that. He's been working so hard this entire season to improve not only his qualifying pace but his race consistency, and it looks like it's all paid off. He's finished P3 here in Portugal, Secret in P4, Vegas finishing just ahead of his teammate Kruner in P5, and 6 James is able to finish P7. Sobit finishes P8 for Mercedes after looking so good for a race win. Just wasn't able to make it happen, as you see, leaving the session there. But and there is your driver of the day. Ecos Forzan went from the back of the grid after getting pole position, being disqualified from qualifying, starting from the back, getting all the way to the front. He's going to win this Portuguese Grand Prix. A very, very dominant display from Ecos Forzan there, and a great battle between himself and his teammate, who sadly finishes down in P4. 2 Canadians on the podium of the Ickle Bickle and Zayek, although I don't think Zayek changed his flag. So there you go, Ecos Forzan wins the race with Ickle Bickle in P2, Zayek finally that secret P4 after his 11 time penalties. Bamboo Vegas in P5 with his teammate right behind him in P6, James in P7 for Red Bull, Sobits in P8 with in P9, and Viperize rounding off the points paying position in P10, vacant at 8,000 RPM, and Shahomi, who was 2 laps down, scoring 0 points, and Ericsson Easton DNFing from the session. But it's a good day out for AlphaTauri. Aston Martin scoring 0 points at this particular round, and this could see AlphaTauri winning the championship for the final round. We'll have to see. They did have a 14-point advantage coming into this round, and after Ickle Bickle scoring those 18 points, they now have a 32-point advantage. So unless Aston Martin are able to pull out a 1-2, I'm not sure they are going to be winning this championship. So a very entertaining race. Both groups in LSR were able to deliver an exciting race with a lot of on-track action, although this race did see quite aggressive driving from a few drivers. Not a lot of space given, especially at turn 1, 4 and 5. So very aggressive. I'm sure there will be a few post-race reports, but I hope you did enjoy. We will see you in 2 weeks' time for the season finale here in LSR, and well, after that it'll only be 1 more week until the new Formula 1 2022 game comes out, and there's a lot of hype built around that, and I personally cannot wait. So I hope to see you in 2 weeks' time for the season finale for both groups. In the meanwhile, you can watch LFR. I'm not sure if their season is over. It might actually be, but obviously LSR and LFR are both streamed on the LGE channel. But I hope to see you obviously in 2 weeks' time, and